Namo Amida Butsu. I don't know what to think anymore. I tend to view this world as some kind of weird movie that I'm watching. I've kind of gotten to the point. I mean, I participate and, I'm involved with the making of this movie, but yet at the same time, it's like I'm not. Does that make any sense? It's like I'm not. I'm part of the movie. I'm in the movie, but yet it's like I'm just watching the movie from afar. It's like everything just seems so surreal at times. Everything just appears to be an illusion at times. Not always, but at times. And not only my environment and the people in the environment and everything around me, but my reaction to it. It's surreal. I hear all these different stories in the news. I I don't know what to make of the human race in general anymore. Some of the comments that get made, some of the people you have to interact with in day to day life, whether going to the grocery store or on the bus, at the checkout counter, it's, I don't know, it's weird. Right now, I'm studying Josho Adrian's commenting on the commentary on the Buddha of Infinite Light Sutra. And I just turn on an Amitofo chant. I found one that you can actually leave on for 8 hours if you want. And I just lose myself in this sutra, in this commentary by Josho Adrian Sirleaf on this sutra. And there's a sense of comfort, there's a sense of calm that I feel while immersing myself in the Dharma and just listening to the name of the Buddha in the background. And it seems when I'm doing that, instead of getting caught in the loop of my crazy thoughts or getting emotionally involved with memories of past events and conflicts I've gone through in my life, resentments, people that I've lost in my life. When I'm reading that sutra commentary by Josho and listening to the music, I'm able to detach more because I'm immersing myself, or as Master Shinran or Rinyo, I don't remember which, would say, I'm listening deeply to the Dharma. And because the name of Amitabha Buddha is being played over and over in my mind as I study this Dharma. I'm able to kind of let go of whatever chaos I may or may not be going through in my life at the moment. And, it's just, my teacup. It's just very relaxing. It's almost like taking a retreat. And I guess in many ways it is taking a retreat from life. I've downloaded Josho's free podcast of this commentary on the Buddha of Infinite Light. And more I see doing this as a refuge from whatever chaos is going on in my life or in my mind or in my emotions. I find it settles me. It calms my nerves. It makes me feel good to immerse myself in the Dharma. It makes me feel happy and comfortable to focus on Amida Buddha, to focus on his sacred teachings, to listen to his name. And I'm able much more, it seems, to disconnect myself from the madness that the human race has become. For those of you who are wondering why I've disabled chat, it's not to disparage anyone who I chat with on chat. I love you guys. But I find that I lose my train of thought more often when I'm having to stop and look at the chat and then having to stop and respond to the chat. And so I'm just going to, when I live stream, I like the spontaneity. I like just putting myself out there and sharing what I'm feeling. And if I'm having to stop and comment on what's being said in the chat, or if someone from another Buddhist school, as has happened before, will come on and try to argue or debate with me, and I have to stop and block them because they're trolling me, it kind of ruins my train of thought. It kind of ruins the narrative. Then again, you guys are welcome to email me. You're welcome to ask me any questions you want. Those of you who have my email, you know how to contact me. Those who don't have my email, I have Josho Adrian Serlia's channel attached to this one. Just contact him and just express to him that you would like to, contact me. And, I'm that's what I'm about. I mean, I'm about sharing the Dharma, not as a Dharma master, because I'm not that smart. I'm not that profound. But as a Dharma practitioner, someone who has taken the Bodhisattva vow, a Bodhisattva in training, in aspiration, as Josho says in his commentary. And anyone who's taken the Bodhisattva vow, you are a Bodhisattva in aspiration. You are a Bodhisattva in training. That is to say, you have committed yourself to a future life as a Buddha down the road. Not hidden in your Buddhism, in your Buddha-ness or your Buddha nature, but as someone who goes out, sentient beings are numberless, I vow to save them all. Afflictions are inexhaustible, I vow to end them all. Dharma doors are boundless, I vow to master them all. The Buddha way is uncontrived, I vow to attain it. And I do. But I have to keep my world very simple. I don't engage in garbage anymore. I've made a vow, as I grow more and more settled in my faith, I take more and more seriously what it means to be a Buddhist. There are a lot of people in the Jodo Shinshu school that think, well, you just do what you want, believe what you want. Whatever makes me happy makes the Buddha happy. That's not true. The Buddha is about truth. The Buddha is about enlightenment. The Buddha is about right thought, right speech, right action, right occupation. I'm not going to be someone who goes around stirring up chaos and confusion in my life. I'm not going to be someone who tries to bring drama into the world. I am very vehemently anti-drama. I hate drama. I am over drama. I grew up in drama. Everything in my family was about drama, and I don't do it anymore, and I'm not going to participate in it. Those who create drama, those who create chaos and confusion, those who create madness and suffering, those who create slander, those who connive, I'm done with that. There's an old saying, today is the first day of the rest of your life. This is the day I choose not to participate in the games that 99% of the people play in the Saha Realm. For me, it's not about getting ahead. For me, it is about focusing on the Buddha, focusing on the Dharma, and living for the Sangha as best I can. And since I'm not an enlightened Buddha, and since I'm not perfect, the best I can often falls very short. But that doesn't mean that I stop trying. It doesn't mean that I'm just to say, oh, screw it, I mean, this is for real. It's like I've said before, the reason I say I take this Buddha seriously is because Amitabha Buddha has taken me seriously. Amitabha Buddha takes Dave seriously. Amitabha Buddha has shown me his love. Amitabha Buddha has answered my prayers to him. Amitabha Buddha has revealed himself to me through his name. I am connected to him through his sacred name. And I've been going through some tough times lately, and his name strengthens me. And I find listening to his name while studying the Dharma, it calms me. It calms the storms of emotion in my heart. It calms the chaos in my mind. Because I am on retreat at that moment while I'm sitting in front of this computer, listening to the Amitabha chant play in the background. And I got a lot of Amitabha chants. I got some on VK. I got a lot of them, a playlist on YouTube I've made public that I listen to. The name of Amitabha Buddha is the only thing real in my life. There are people I love, and there are people I care about, and you know, I'm basically a very happy, carefree person. Not always, but my reality, more and more each day as I get older, is my connection to Amitabha Buddha through his name, through saying the Nimbutsu, through focusing on the Dharma. When I was a Zen Buddhist, it was about me doing various chants, burning incense, trying to master silent meditation, which I couldn't. I've gotten to the point now, I just admit that I couldn't. It was something that was way far too advanced for me. I did give it my all, though. I tried transcendental meditation back in the 70s. Early 70s. I've tried so many different techniques, positive affirmations in front of a mirror, aligning my chakras. I used to have a CD from, I think, one of the New Age musicians, Eoli or something. I don't even remember, but it was one of them was chakra alignment. And I would just lay on my bed and I would just listen to the music and imagine, the chakras just going down my body. And it was relaxing, listening to relaxing music and going through any kind of meditation technique is very relaxing. But once I've had that religious experience, that meditative experience, and I've been relaxed, I come out of it, something triggers me, I'm no longer relaxed. I can go from, Dharma King to pissed off in 30 seconds. That's because I'm not enlightened. That's because my best is not the best. And I do try to give life my best. I try to be the best I can at work, at home, in every relationship. And I do see positive changes in my personality. An example was I went to H Mart, the Korean Mart, last week, and I was going through some stuff. And there's always this little checkout lady She's about my age, it seems, or probably younger, probably 40-ish. And she's Korean. I always assumed she didn't speak English. And then I heard her talking English to someone else. And she's always very rude to me. I try to converse with her, nothing. And I looked at her and smiled, and her face just went from a smile. She was talking about some little girl that was at the register with the cashier, and her face just went. And I'm like, okay, enough. And I actually stood outside and kind of wrestled with whether or not to go to the manager, and I did. I went to the customer service desk. I spoke to the manager, and I said yes. And the cashier told me the lady's name. She'd already gone away when I came back in the store. She said, "Oh yeah, I need to talk to you about Abby." And she's like, "Oh, Abby." And I explained to her. I said, "Every time I come in here, she's outrageously rude." And I said, "I don't know if it's what the problem is, if it's whatever it is." And she's like, "Well, she has," and I'm like, "Oh, okay. I get it. She's got psychological issues. Okay, fine." And I told her, I said, "Now that I understand the situation, I'm not going to take it as personally. You have no idea how revolutionary that is for me in my growth. You have no idea what a giant leap that is. And I credit all of that to this. My relationship with Amitabha Buddha, my saying of his name. This, this. It transforms my personality. It transforms my life. Living in Amitabha Buddha, calling out to him by reciting his name, day in and day out, morning, evening, noon, and night, off and on. And I don't do it constantly, as I've said. It makes so much more of a difference in my life than trying to reach various stages of samadhi and meditation through my own efforts. And I actually see the results. See, in the past, I would try to be this, very zen, very spiritual, very new agey person. And whenever someone or something or some circumstance, or even just a thought, or watching a commercial that triggers the thought would come along and just throw me off guard, immediately I felt like everything, all the progress I'd ever made just went down the toilet. Now, whether that is true or not is one thing, but it definitely felt like that. And I must say, sitting for hours, and sometimes it would be, I think the longest I ever sat in meditation was 5 hours. You have to, you have to find a quiet place to meditate. And I would try to do this on my 10-minute breaks at work, my 30-minute breaks when I worked at the mall, which meant I had to go walk out and find some place in the parking lot, sometimes really in the parking lot by where the bushes are, where way too far for people to park their cars, which took about 15 minutes just to get there. So I had basically 15 minutes, and I had to give or 10 minutes to meditate and then get back in 5 minutes. It's like for my lunch break. And it was like that alone added so much stress. It's like I had to put in so much work to try to find, to seek this illusory calm that I never really found because it never really stuck. And I'm still Dave. Stuff still triggers me. People still piss me off. People still push my buttons. It happened last week. It'll happen this week and the week after that. But meanwhile, in the meantime, I'm learning to let go. I'm learning to do what I have to do to live my life in as much peace, as chaos free as I possibly can. And then I'm learning to let it go. Once I've done what I need to do, I'm learning to let it go. In the past, I don't know how I survived without having a stroke or heart attack in my younger years. If somebody said or did something to me, I would take that burden and wrestle with it sometimes for months. And I mean everything. My mind was in such chaos and turmoil. My emotions were such a cesspit of churning garbage, doubt and fear and worry. I honestly don't see how I survived those years. I really don't. I don't see how I kept from killing myself. I still go through turmoil. I still have chaos. But it doesn't last. I found a remedy. I found a solution. Amida, his name and his dharma. Amida, his name, his dharma, and his sangha. Because I have as my sensei a good teacher by the name of Reverend Josho Adrian Sirleaf. And a lot of people don't like him because he preaches the pristine Dharma. He doesn't try to make it a popularity contest or a fashion show. He's not like an Al Bloom. You know, he's not like some other so-called Shin Buddhist groups who are Shin Buddhist in name only. You know, a little bit of this, a little bit of silent meditation, a little bit of chakra arranging, a little bit of, you know, that's what I need. I need a teacher who knows his stuff. He studies the Dharma. He knows who he is. He knows the fact that he is a priest in the Jodo Shinshu tradition, and he takes it seriously. Because being the kind of person I am, in the past, I've hooked up with people. I think the most frustrating time was when I was hooked up with that guy who actually gave me what the Buddha taught. That book by, I think, Rahula, I forget the name of the author. The book was fantastic. But the guy who gave it to me because he wasn't interested. The Buddhism was too much work. It was too structured by what he could get from glancing at the pages. And he was very into all sorts of different New Age things. And he would go and fly off into You know, first I'm 1 minute he's into crystals, next minute, you know, colors. He always wore lavender. The next thing it was soul retrieval. Someone like that brings more confusion and pain to someone like me, even though their intentions are well. There's an old saying, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. There are people who mean well but don't realize how unenlightened they are. That's one of the benefits of having a teacher like Joshua Adrian is, I'll wait till it readjusts. He knows he's unenlightened. He knows he's a spiritual idiot, a bamboo, and so do I. So I don't need someone filled with ego who's going to BS me with feel good, new agey nonsense. I don't have time for that. It's smoke and mirrors. I need something. I need a foundation I can stand on. That's why I have this. That's why I have this altar. This is why I read the Dharma, because I need a foundation. I don't need false hope and fake compliments from fake people being fake. The world is fake. The world is full of liars, backstabbers, and flatterers. What I need is to focus on living a good Buddhist life. And because I'm not a good Buddhist, and because I'm not enlightened, the best I can do is say the name of Amitabha Buddha, entrust myself to him, desire to be reborn in his pure land, and leave it at that. I don't need to recite the Medicine Buddha Sutra. I don't need to recite the Green Tara chant. I don't need to invoke 1,000 other Buddhas. I don't need to be one of these wishy-washy Buddhists who goes to a Christian church when he's been invited by a friend, or goes to the Hare Krishna temple because, hey, you know, I'm a Buddhist, and you know, my true nature is the Buddha nature, which is accurate. It is true, but I am not enlightened. Therefore, I am not in touch with my Buddha nature. And to believe that I am in touch with my Buddha nature is an illusion, because as an unenlightened person, yes, I have a Buddha nature. Yes, it manifests in my life. But to just go off and say, yes, well, you know I'm a Buddha. I'm not a Buddha. So there's a lot of crap that gets thrown around in New Age terminology that misleads people who are seeking a sincere path that works. Yes, I know there are people that love playing spiritual games. I've met some in the Jodo Shinshu community. I met people who they live off of drama, and you know, they don't know how to take things seriously. They don't know how to be consistent. They don't know how to put their nose to the grindstone, so to speak, and just practice this simple path. And it's a simple path because all you have to do is say the name of the Buddha, entrust to him, and believe. and know that because you've done this, you will be reborn in the pure land of ultimate bliss and peace. I told you guys about someone who I'd known for years, someone I'd known from Facebook. And he just started getting off in all different directions. And, you know, I respect Soka, the Nichiren Buddhism. I was a Nichiren Buddhist at one point. But now that I have experienced Shinjin, I should more accurately say, now that Amida has revealed Shinjin to me, his gift of simple faith, I don't respect anyone who says, oh yes, I need to re-examine my Shinjin. I think I'll go off on this path. And then he came back to saying he was a Shin Buddhist and, oh, Namo Amida Butsu, and everything was all fine. And then one day he said, yes, I'm reading the Book of Mormon. This guy who's a Mormon that I know, he's given me the Book of Mormon to read, and it's just like Pure Land Buddhism. And I don't remember if he said it's just like Pure Land Buddhism or it's like Pure Land Buddhism. It doesn't really matter. Either way, that's slandering the Dharma. You're saying a non-Buddhist path is not only like the Dharma, but its teachings are like Pure Land Buddhism. And as much as I loved this guy, as long as I had been friends with this guy, that was it. And the reason wasn't because he didn't do what I wanted him to do. He wasn't saying what I wanted to hear. He wasn't believing what I wanted him to believe. It had to do with me and self-preservation. I can't handle people who look at their spirituality as some game to be played. Because for me, it is dead serious. My spiritual life is everything to me. And I do mean everything to me. And I remember when he was Nichiren Buddhist, we would Skype or get on Google Hangouts, and he used to play this little game. He's like, okay, you say Namo Amida Butsu when we sign off, and I'll say Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. And it's like, wait a minute, man, this is not a game, okay? Namo Amida Butsu is the sacred name of my Lord, Amitabha Buddha. Not to disparage Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, which is the title of the Lotus Sutra, chanted by Nichiren followers. They're Buddhists, they're part of the Dharma path, they're Mahayana Buddhists. More power to them. Don't try to force me to play your game. And I even told him, I said, when we go online and we talk together, let's not talk about spiritual things. Let's talk about secular things. And he's like, oh, okay. And he kept pushing that. And not only that, he kept sending me, quotes from Nichiren. He did not respect my faith. My faith is everything. My faith is my foundation. My faith is my settlement in Amida Buddha. Amida is my anchor. His Dharma is my anchor. Don't screw around with faith with me. You know, I had someone try that to me a long time ago. You know, they're and that will happen from time to time. You know, people, especially Christians, do not understand Buddhist or Buddhism in general. And basically, a lot of Christians, especially older Christians, will view it as something that you need to be, you know, you're into some kind of fad if you're a Buddhist, and it needs to be fixed. And one person asked me, you know, what are you seeking? I said, I'm not seeking anything. I found Amitabha Buddha. Well, do you know where you're going to go when you die? And it's like, dude, I'm not having this conversation with you. Amitabha Buddha is not a subject I debate. The sacred name of Amitabha Buddha is the most sacred words to ever pass over my lips. Anyone who plays games with this path or flip-flops back and forth between Christianity, New Age, or even other Buddhist schools, eventually I'm going to have to let you go. You know, I can respect you a heck of a lot more if I'm an Nichiren Buddhist, or I'm this, or I'm Mormon, or I'm a Christian, and this is the path I want. But hey, let's be friends. Hey, fine. We can be friends if you keep spirituality out of it, if you keep religion out of it. Because I'm not going to talk to you about religion if you're a Mormon or you're a Christian. Now, if you're curious, honestly curious about what I believe, I will share it with you. And I'll leave it at that. We will never debate. Shinran said we are not to engage in scholarly debate. There is a deep respect toward the peace that my faith imbues on me. And I am not going to waste time on people who really have no desire to be settled in their faith, in Amitabha Buddha, in the Jodo Shinshu path, or Jodo Shu, or I don't really care what Pure Land Buddhist group you are a member of. And I will say this. If you believe Amida is a real Buddha and his Pure Land is a true, real, actual Buddha land, and you believe in the tribal and in the primal vow of Amitabha Buddha, you are my brother or sister. I don't care if you Jodo Shu, Jodo Shinshu, Shandao. It doesn't matter. But if you flip back and forth, or if you want to argue and debate, you know, and you guys have seen that on my chat stream. You know, I had a Theravada Buddhist come on and ask me, you know, have you ever thought of praying to Shakyamuni? You know, blocked. I kicked him off. Was I being a hard ass? Yes. First of all, that's very rude. That's why I've disabled the chats. I don't have time for this. It's, like I said, I love every one of you guys. I love your input. And like I said, if you want to ask me any questions, by all means, email me. And to the best of my ability, I will try to answer your questions. If I can't, I will defer you to Josho Adrian. To those of you who don't have my email address, contact Josho Adrian Surlia. He's got, he's connected. I've got him recommended on this channel. That'll hook you up to his YouTube channel, his blogger post. He will give you my email. If you are sincerely seeking the Jodo Shinshu path or the Pure Land Buddhist path. Now, if you want to argue and debate, I just save yourself some time. It's not going to happen with me. But that's why I look around me in the Saha realm. All of the madness, self-mutilation, violence, slander, all this energy that everyone seems to be putting into creating all forms of chaos, murder, rape, torture. Fake lies, fake news. I like to know what's going on to an extent in my world, but I recognize it is the Saha world. So all of my energy, to the best of my ability, is invested and divested into Amitabha Buddha and saying his name, and wishing to be reborn in his pure land of ultimate bliss and peace. Because nothing else really matters. Have a great day, guys. Namo Amida Butsu.